Well, hello and welcome to the Minor League Cricket Live Show. How exciting is this? I'm Aman Patel, and I'm, of course, joined by Nate Hayes. Thank you guys for joining us tonight as we look to recap Week 1. Nate, what an exciting Week 1 we had.
Well, minor league's finally here. I couldn't be happier about it. It was a weekend full of games. We had a long weekend because of the holiday, so we had games on Monday. I was pretty stoked to see that. Tons of games this weekend for us to wrap up.
Yeah, it was a great way to start, right? The holiday weekend prolonged things, and that meant that we have so much to break into. And let's start out with that Southern Division because, I got the chance to be there. Bob, our director, got a chance to be there. Take a look at these standings out there in the South as we pick things off. Nate, the Raptors are sitting pretty at first place with the Royals following them, and then it's the Fire and the Lightning sitting at third and fourth. How about this? The Raptors at first, you saw that coming into the season?
I didn't see that coming. I think the team has shaped up a lot. They did a great job with their free agents and their overseas. The Royals, we knew were going to be a really solid team. They've always been a good bowling team. This season, they added a couple of big key pieces. Atlanta, Fire, and Lightning typically 1-2 in the division. Not right now, they aren't. And these games were at home. I think I'd be a little bit worried about the season if I were them at this point. 3 games in. It's not going to be a very long season, and they just got 3 games at home, and it didn't really work out too great for them.
Yeah, it didn't work out that great for them, but they'll have the rest of the games at home. But we move to Week 2, but we got to see what happened in Week 1. And Week 1 was so exciting. We want to jump into every single game. So let's start with the first match of the season that happened on that Friday, like we mentioned, on Labor Day, because it was with the Lightning were sent into bat first on tough surfaces. They struggled early with just 2 boundaries across the first 8 overs. And so uptight, he tried to break the shackles. But look at this incredible boundary catch from Ollie Cox. I mean, Nate, we saw this consistently all weekend. This was just phenomenal. Have a second look at that. Does so well to get his body back into it. But the captain, Sunny Patel, well, he was able to keep the Lightning involved with some lusty blows. But wickets just kept falling in those tough conditions. And the Raptors, well, they had the Lightning to just 113, highlighted by this terrific Raj Anand catch along the boundary. The Lightning made it interesting with the ball where the 3 spinners, Sohaib Tai, Sunny Patel, and Junaid Siddiqui took 6 wickets between them. But late runs from Ryan Wiggins, and you saw that shot there. Don't forget about Aditya Padala's big shot as well. They helped guide the Raptors to a 2-wicket win. I mean, how sensational was that? And Nate, I mean, this game to open up the weekend was truly, truly terrific.
Absolutely. I think the Raptors, with the additions that they had, I'm so excited to see Raj Anand, for example. The guy loves playing cricket. He loves the game. He's very exciting. He puts his effort into it every single time. The Raptors have a lot of guys like that. Trevon Griffith, Christopher Barnwell. It's going to be a fun team to watch here this coming weekend at Church Street Park under the lights.
Yeah, absolutely. And just a quick moment before we keep going with the games. Thank you guys in the comments. Make sure you do continue to comment and chat along with us. Hi from George Jotty Williams out of Mexico, Nate. That's pretty darn cool. And Big Nate, of course, you're there. And, so excited to see you guys joining us in the chat. That's what it's all about. And speaking about what it's all about, well, we had so many games. Saturday was a doubleheader. Let's go ahead and take a look because the next day, Morsel would feature against the other Atlanta side in a delayed 8-over outing. And it was the Raptors who had to bat first. But both openers were gone early thanks to this ridiculous catch from Cornet Dry. I mentioned boundary catches. We saw those boundary catches galore. Nate, have us talk about this one.
Oh, fantastic. Well, Cornet, talk about a real athlete. Look at this. Terrific stuff here.
Yeah, and Ryan Wiggins, well, he had the best day with the bat for the Raptors with 19 off 9, and the Raptors would finish with just 58 runs on the board, and the Fire got off to a hot start thanks to Hanchard Hamilton with shots like those. He hit 3 boundaries in the first over, and even with the brief fight back with the ball from the Raptors and that got the game to the final over, those early runs were enough to get the Fire over the line. You see there, Emilio Alfonso hitting the winning runs as captain, and then we moved to Saturday in the second match where the Lightning took on the Baltimore Royals. The The Royals had an incredible second wicket partnership, capped off by Ravi Inder Singh's 49 off 51. While a platform was set though, the Lightning made life difficult with the ball thanks to the 2022 MVP Funny Samadhi's 2 for 11 in 4 overs. And the Lightning walked in chasing 104, but the Royals made life tough with early wickets. Sarbjit Singh Ludda took a wicket as well, and he also took out Jaskaran Malhotra on this catch, his captain. Take a look at this as they both run in from deep and then bang, right there. But Malhotra, he miraculously held on to that sunny catch. Sagar Patel lasted 52 balls and put a team into position to win a game, but Mark Parchment hit those match-winning 26 runs to get the Lightning over the line, and it was just shots like that over and over again as the Lightning, well, they beat the Royals in that first matchup. Nate, that game to me was just a game that felt to swing back and forth because you felt the Lightning were ahead, but the Royals just never seemed to let up.
Yeah, there's a lot of matchups in this division that when you look at them, you think, man, this one's going to go right down to the wire. And this is definitely one. Before the game, you knew this was going to be a good one. And it certainly didn't fail to live up to expectations.
Yeah, the Royals were one of my favorites coming into the league in this division, and they seemed to prove it on day one. But there was more games. We got to move into Saturday where the matches, because the Lightning got another crack at the Raptors this time, and it was another reduced game. We saw that consistently. It was a 12 overs reduced match, and the opening pair for the Raptors, well, they got off to hot starts. Both John Campbell and Trevon Griffith hit lusty blows all around the ground, and Campbell was eventually undone by yet another sensational catch from Mark Parchment. I mentioned boundary catching. Guys, I'm not overstating it. It's just terrific work. Griffith found his rhythm, however, cashing in his first 50 of the 2024 season, and paired with some late ball striking from Abhiram Bolasetti, the Raptors finished with 119, and Christopher Barnwell continued his hot streak with the ball. He picked up 2 wickets in the second over of the chase. I mean, those slower ones were ridiculous, and you couple that with Raj Anand's 2 wickets in the span of 3 balls, and the Raptors, well, they would win with ease, capped off by this brilliant catch by captain Trevon Griffith. How often we see catches like that from him?
Oh, you see great effort from Trevon. He's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and then we move into that second game where things went wrong for the Fire because Jay Group Raina picks out Obis Panar in the deep, and then Rajdeep Darbar fell to Muhammad Alam, leaving the score 1 for 2 after 1 over, and the Fire were able to reel things back with a partnership from Akshdev and Hanchard Hamilton, but Sarbjit Ludda, after these shots, was able to break that partnership eventually. You see more of these shots coming in, but Paul Palmer had a late fire that got to the Fire to 139, and then Obis Panar got the batting going. Ahad Malik joined in, 41 off 36, and a combination of Ansh Patel and Emil Alonso brought the game back because they took wickets on back-to-back deliveries, each of them. And while the game got tight, it was that man, Mohammad Mohsin, who hit 35 off 18 and Ronak Sharma's 35 off 27 that ended up carrying the Royals to a victory there. We speak of Mohammad Mohsin being that big impact there with the Royals, Nate. He's no longer there. He's at the CPL now, man.
Yeah, I mean, great for him. Bad for the Royals, though. I think, when we saw him join that team, we were thinking, man, how many good bowlers does this team need? And how many, obviously, him hitting from the left side just puts them over the top. They had a lot of great T20 hitters in the team, but they didn't really have a full batting order until this season. And I still think that they're the team to beat, even without Mohsin. You got Panar in that team. It really makes a huge difference. Gives them kind of that missing piece that they really needed.
Yeah, absolutely. And that game was won without Jaskaran Malhotra. You have to remember that as well, because Jaskaran Malhotra, he had that impact with Sarbjit Singh Ludda. Didn't play the rest of the weekend. That's why Obis Panar was opening the batting. We don't usually see that. He tends to bat 4, 5, 6 is kind of his area to come in and bat. And to see him bat that high and the Royals still have success, that's pretty impressive.
Totally not surprised, though. Not one bit.
Yeah. Well, Mohsin leading that team to victory. Well, the Fire got another chance at the Baltimore Royals on Monday thanks to Labor Day because we had even more action. I just love starting on those long weekends because we moved into Monday with the game. The Fire hoping for a different result. They won the toss, elected to bowl first, but it was Obis Panar that got off to a quick start. But the Royals were extinguished early by spinners Emil Alonso, Akshdev, and Ansh Patel, who took 6 wickets between them. Sherrod Lumba, however, kept the Royals in the match, punishing pace on the ball as he scored 52 off 37. But the Fire kept things tight thanks to great death bowling from Cornet Dry. I mean, take a look at that slower one. And the Royals finished with just 128 on the board. Reina did find his first runs finally for the Fire, but managed to get run out on the very same delivery, trying to run 2 on this one, direct hit, and he had to go. The Fire, however, did build a partnership between Hanchard Hamilton and Akshdev, followed by an onslaught of boundary hitting from Zia Shahzad, as you see right there, sweeping Sarbjeet Singh Ludda, and a stable duo of Hanchard Hamilton and Paul Palmer were cruising the Fire to the finish line when in the 19th over, it was that man again, Muhammad Alam, who got Hamilton caught a deep backwards square leg, and the Fire would need 11 from the final over. Paul Palmer was dismissed with the first ball, and then Emil Alponzo goes bang, bang, hits a 4, and then following that, hits a 6 off Jerome Davis to make it 1 off of 2, and then it was 1 off 1, the final ball. They try to sneak a quick single, and then Ahad Malik makes a great play, forces the super over, and the super over was all Baltimore Royals. Muhammad Alam bowled beautifully, only allowing 4, and then Obis Pinar finished it up with that brilliant sweep shot, and the Baltimore Royals, they were able to claim the final victory of Labor Day weekend in the Southern Division.
Wow, what an absolutely amazing game there. Man, how many times do we see super overs here in the South Division and to see them in Atlanta right now? We see them a lot at Church Street Park, but I think they're always welcome. They're exciting moments. Obis himself has been involved in probably about 3 or 4 of them.
It feels that way, right? And that's the beauty of minor league cricket. We always seem to find those close games, in the South especially, as you mentioned. I think about this game, and I just think of the lack of depth from the Atlanta Fire and their batting lineup. I think this is a team that's been spoiled with riches in terms of Stephen Taylor and Aaron Jones and Raheem Cornwall, Kennard Lewis at times. They just don't have that this season, and you saw it with Emil Alponzo coming out early. Corne Dry's been promoted,
right?
And I just think they need to find, Stephen Taylor being hurts them, but they need to find some batters in that middle order.
I think the top order needs to be a little bit better at keeping their wicket, because we did see guys we're not used to seeing batting in the 10th, 11th, 12th over, having to come in and get the job done. They almost crossed the line there regardless.
Yeah, they almost did, and I think that's also a credit to Baltimore. That's their first game without Mohammad Mohsin, so you lose a big bat, you lose one of your best spinners. It wasn't Sarbjeet Singh Ludda's best game, and I think it just speaks to the character of that Baltimore team, because you're out your captain, Jaskar Malhotra, you lose Mohammad Mohsin, and for them to still hold their nerve in that type of environment and still win, it shows you the caliber of that team.
Oh, they're a very good team. I think if they get together as a team, if they come together as a group, we've seen them bicker a little bit in the past. If they come together as a group, if they really come together, and I think that's going to come with Jaskar, and I think has matured as a captain over the years, and I think that's going to help them out a lot. I think that they could make a really long run this season.
Yeah, and we mentioned the Raptors. They were able to find groove with the ball, which was really surprising to me. That pace bowling lineup seemed to be something that could be an issue, but Christopher Barnwell's really stepped up in that role.
Oh, no question. Especially, you mentioned before the wicket moving a little bit laterally. I think that he's going to take advantage of that. He's clever enough, and his slower balls, and he changes. He's good. He's a good T20 bowler because of the variations he's capable of bowling. And then Raj Anand zipping it in with the left arm finger spin.
Yeah,
I think that's great for these wickets.
Yeah, and I think Adi Gupta has been a real revelation for them too, coming back to kind of full health, and he's been bowling really well with good loop, the leg spinner. I want to talk about leg spin and Ansh Patel. Nate, you didn't see him live, but my goodness, this left arm Chinaman is just unbelievable. He bowled in that super over for the Atlanta Fire, and he was the best option to bowl on a team that featured Emil Alponzo and Corne Dry. I don't know if I can speak any higher of him.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about the fella, and I'm excited to seeing him. I'm excited to see him at Church Street Park sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. And then one last thing I have to say about the South before we move on, Muhammad Alam. He was, to me, when we talk about pace bowlers and how the Raptors might struggle in their department, a lot of people were looking at the Royals in the same factor. I talked to J.L. Hans, and he said, the fast bowling area is the one area that they might not have. You knew Aryan Batra was going to be there, but they lose Derval Green. Who's going to be your real fast bowler? This guy, man, Muhammad Alam. He played under 19 for Pakistan with Shaheen Shah Afridi, and he was so good from the get-go. Only 4 runs in the super over. Was really the only bowler not to bowl a bad ball all weekend long. I can't wait for you to see him at Church Street Park.
Yeah, I can't wait either. I think you've talked him up to such a degree. I can't wait to see him.
Well, there you go. That is the Southern Division. But now let's move into the East, because this was a division that really was wide open. We were talking about the wickets, but let's take a look at these standings, because we take a look at this, and Nate, I want you to break down what you see right now, because you're going to see it's the defending champs, New Jersey Somerset Cavaliers, back up top, And then from there, you have the New Jersey Stallions sitting at 2, which we kind of expected. The Philadelphians are at 3. Those are the 3 teams that played. What are you looking forward to in this division that kind of has a group of players now developing on these surfaces?
Well, these are the 3 big dogs right now. There's definitely a difference between these top 3 teams and everybody else in the division. But I think the Yorkers this weekend showed a little bit of spirit. The Cavaliers obviously are a loaded team. They're looking to get right back to the championship, and actually, and they almost won that game against this absolutely loaded Dallas team. Yeah. And the New Jersey Stallions have loads of experience. Changed their uniforms a little bit more this year than in previous years. But they've got a lot of USA talent on that squad. The Philadelphians look like they just seem to improve in certain departments every year. This year, their batting looks phenomenal. So we'll see how things shape up. But this was a very interesting weekend in minor league cricket in the East.
Yeah, 100% I agree. In the East, again, it was always a question of those services and how they were going to play. And we saw some really great performances.
We did, and I think the wickets are a little bit better. So let's take a look at the East and how things went. On Friday, the Manhattan Yorkers took on the defending Atlantic champions, the Somerset Cavaliers. The Cavs took the ball first, and Najaf Shah struck early. Adnan Haroon himself took 2 wickets for his new team, aided here by a great catch from Gajanan Singh. Haroon and Shah each took 2 wickets, as did Junaid Nadir, with a good catch right here from USA player Adel Badi. Former USA player Adel Badi, I should say. 41 runs from Nurmith Shashidar provided the only real resistance in the innings for the Yorkers, and you'd think that this would be an easy chase for the likes of the Cavaliers, needing only 120 to win. But we shouldn't underestimate this Yorkers bowling attack. It's got a lot of experience, a lot of talent. Manoj Acharya back in the fold with Manhattan, took a big wicket early, getting Kanar Lewis LBW. And the Yorkers bowling combined for 78 dot balls in the innings. Manoj Acharya, Ruchir Joshi, and Nimish Bachu each took 2 wickets, and USA leg spinner Yasser Mohammed conceded only 14 runs in his full quota. We're about to see him take a wicket right here, taking the wicket of Syed Abdullah, former USA big basher. But back to Bachu, who had an incredible stat line in the game of 11 dots and 2 wickets in his 12 balls, conceding only 1 run. The Yorkers actually walked away with a surprise first win against the tough Cavaliers side. In the draft show I'm on, we talked about how young this team is, this Yorkers team is, but the experience of their bowling core is absolutely priceless. And it looks like they have at least that department shored up.
Yeah, I mean, this was a very young team, and so it was always going to be interesting because you're going to have to see a guy like Yasser Mohammed take a real leadership and veteran role, even with the batting, guys like Danesh Patel. Yeah. They looked a lot into Pranab Chetapaliyam, who was that kind of under-19 superstar as we qualified through, and he was going to have to perform big, the left-hander as a kid. So this was a team filled with youth, and so it's a team that I felt, in 2 years, maybe, not this season, but the next one, maybe the one after that, would really be a force if they could keep that core together. But they're proving that they can get things done this very season.
Oh, 100%. I think this weekend's going to go a long way for them. I don't think a lot of people saw them coming out of this weekend with a win against this particular team. But yes, I think this is an exciting team. I think it's great to have Yasser in a team where he's going to get his quota every time. I think it's great to have the Mercer wickets in a situation where you don't have to gamble the house to bowl a leg spinner.
Sure.
In last season we saw teams having to defend 60, 70 runs. This season it looks like a 120, 130, 140 in some cases is a pretty. It might not even be enough to get you to a victory.
Yeah, the wickets look really great. You could see it in those highlights, the big shots that were being played. Those weren't shots that were played last season. Oftentimes it was kind of gentle prods, and it was 99 might be too many runs to score. So this is a good standard of cricket that's being built, and I think again it's the hybrids are starting to set in over there, and they're looking better, and the games are getting better, and so that's all you can hope for year by year, that things get better. And it seems like every single day games got better, Nate.
Absolutely, they really did. The wicket actually got better, it seemed, as the weekend went on. The outfield looked fantastic. The balls were running to the boundary. This outfield does not look like the typical outfield you're going to see in New Jersey or New York. This looks like an actual cricket outfield.
Well, we saw what happened early in the weekend. What else happened this weekend, Nate?
Well, Saturday we had even more action. We had a doubleheader on Saturday. Let's take a look at how that went down. The Yorkers would kick it off, and they try to keep momentum on their side against the New Jersey Stallions, who elected to bat first. Saimu Kamala scored 32, along with fellow USA cricket star Jesse Singh with 32 of his own, including this 6 right here. They set the score at 124 for 6. And Preet Shah took 3 wickets for Manhattan, including this catch from Yasser Mohammed. And Yasser continued his economical ways, conceding only 12 runs in 4 overs with a wicket. You can see this here, nice catch on Madonna. But the Yorkers couldn't pull away in the chase as the star-studded Stallions bowling attack saw 5 bowlers take wickets, and the Stallions stopped a potential Manhattan winning streak, topping the Yorkers by 21 runs. Let's take a look at this this catch coming up on the next replay here by Sachin Malavarapu. So you see the ball going up in the air. This is a great catch. I love seeing it caught and bowled like this. Look at that effort.
That's phenomenal.
That was not a collision. That was not a lot of collision. But let's take a look. It's a little bit funny because the ball goes up. He's standing flat-footed. He's like, I think right about there he has to go get it. And boom, he catches it right where it would have been Bermuda's Triangle.
He got to do his own work there, right? The world's got to work for himself.
He had to do his own work. No concussions on the play. Good effort from the Yorkers, but not enough to beat the New Jersey Stallions. And next game, Philadelphia went deep last season, and they were looking to get off the mark early against New England Eagles. After a slow start for Philly, Jonathan Fu got a move on, scoring 36 from 21 to get Philly to 135, which proved more than enough to defend, especially with Bhaskar Yadram and Abdul Jabbar in good form. Take a look at this nice slip catch here from Ryan Scott. The Philadelphians would cruise to an 80-run win, with Yadram securing a forfer, conceding only 5 runs in 2.3 overs, a phenomenal spell. The Eagles would get a chance for a rematch on Sunday, but today this was absolutely the Philadelphians' day.
How about that? I mean, that just looked phenomenal. I mean, it was the Bhaskar Yadram 4 for 5 is phenomenal. He ran out of wickets to take, it felt like. He bowled on that surface like it was last season. He made it look very difficult, but you could see the variation, the skill he's developed. I think Abdul Jabbar, we mentioned him on Cricket Across America and all the wickets he's taken across cricket clubs. Well, you can see why he's taking all those wickets. And you gotta love a Ryan Scott highlight, don't you, Nate?
Gotta love it. I think Ryan Scott is one of those players that he's one of the superstars of minor league cricket. Bhaskar Yadram also, he's almost legendarily strong. We've seen him mash the ball all the way to the tennis courts at Church Street Park. Probably the furthest ball we've ever seen there. But yeah, we saw him taking. He was effective everywhere he bowled this weekend. He was absolutely tremendous. Yeah,
again, it's just so exciting to see those guys continue to perform and step up. We've talked a lot about Ryan Scott. Bhaskar Yadram gave us maybe our favorite memory at Church Street Park with that 6 that hit the tennis courts. You ever been to Church Street Park? Take a look at the tennis courts. Take a look at that center wicket. That's how far Bhaskar Yadram hit a 6. Still the biggest 6. I don't care that Heinrich Klaassen and Kyra Pollard have been there.
It's the Ken Griffey.
Yes, it is. Because I don't care that Heinrich Klaassen and that all these guys have been there. It's Bhaskar Yadram's wicket. He's hit the biggest shot in that park. But talk to us about what else happened at that park on that weekend.
Well, we had a lot more action coming up on Sunday as the New England Eagles would have their chance at retribution against the Philadelphians. But the Philadelphians would make them set the target. An early strike by Jonathan Fu with a great catch right there. Fantastic catch. Set the table, but Rishi Badagam would help the Eagles to a respectable 121 for 8. All 5 Philadelphian bowlers would claim wickets along the way. And Jonathan Fu took 2 of those wickets in the first innings, but he would blast 41 from 22 in the chase. He's always a menace with the helmet off there, isn't he? And the Philadelphians would finish things off with 12 balls at hand, winning by 5 wickets. Just too good for New England Eagles right now at this point in their development.
I mean, yeah, they've just really blown away the contest. But keep going. What else happened on Sunday?
The Cavaliers were eager to answer their first loss of the season, and they would choose to bat first against the NYC Titans in Sunday's second game. Kennard Lewis blasted 56 from 43. Look at that stroke.
That's just pretty. Picture
that's
perfect.
So nice.
Put that on a picture frame.
Absolutely fantastic. Including Gajanan Singh would put his foot down for 57 runs from 27 balls in a shortened first innings to help the Cavs to 159 for 2. A massive start for NJSC on that Mercer wicket in a shortened innings, going just under 10 and over for 16 overs, which was completely unheard of last season. Najaf Shah would come in and start the second innings with, he put the Titans behind the 8-ball early with 3 wickets, allowing only 8 runs in his first 3 overs. Najaf is one of the most experienced bowlers in the country, and he just doesn't seem to slow down. Look at that right there, caught and bowled. He's 39 years old, and you'd never know it. Gaj Singh would seal his player of the match performance with a really great catch right here. Boom.
Oh,
there you
phenomenal.
go. Gaj, two great catches.
Talking about the old guys, they might be the youngest guys on the team at this point.
And look how much fun he's having. I love the strut there from the fun strut from Gaj. And just when you think he's done, he takes 3 wickets all of his own, all in succession in the 15th over for the first hat trick of the minor league cricket season. What a weekend for Gajanand Singh. He is a tremendous player. He's been in great form all summer. Anybody you talk to up there will tell you he's been in great form. Look at him bowling with a hat on, glasses on.
There's swag galore on this man, you have to say.
He's just having a good time. Look at this. Everybody's gathering around Gaj Singh. I mean, he's really rallying the troops there. Look at this. You just love to see him having fun. He's one of our favorite players. He's one of anybody who likes cricket in the USA, who likes USA cricket, is going to think Gaj Singh is one of their favorite players.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. And I think, again, there's a lot of questions about Gajanand Singh. He didn't make that USA T20 World Cup team. He didn't make the ODI squad. And what was he going to be like this minor league season? Is he still going to have that fire, that ship? And I like this side of Gajanand Singh. It's a fun, flavorful side where he's just kind of letting it all hang loose. He seems to be playing with the freedom that maybe he hasn't felt in a while. He's been performing great no matter where he goes, but there's just a certain freedom about the way he moves out there that I don't know last season or a couple of years ago we would have seen from Gajanand Singh.
You know, it's hard to say that there's anybody in the East that's better as a cricketer all around than Gajanand Singh. I think that you would be hard stretched to say something like that. That's how good he is. He's fantastic. We love him. I feel like he should have been in that USA side after the 2023 season he had. He is getting up there in age.
Yeah.
But he is such a good player. He's last season's Atlantic MVP.
Oh, man.
Just phenomenal.
Player. I'm going to steal a page out of your playbook, though. The jersey colors. I got to say, these jerseys are looking very, very nice.
Yeah.
I mean, the New Jersey Somerset Cavaliers got a little lime green going in there
I like
now.
it. I think these are their best rendition.
Yeah, I like that. And then the new NYC Titans, they got a little red, white, and blue action going. And I like the way these teams are really embracing these jerseys and trying to change that look every year.
Yeah, I think I'm happy that the Raptors are staying to their brand.
They changed it a little bit though too. There's a little bit more neon green in there, and it's actually very nice. The little brighter highlights. I like the way the Atlanta Fire actually added some. Their training kits have usually been black. They're now white and red now, so it's another really cool example of just how these teams are really taking each season as their own way to theme it out.
We still got the vanilla pudding in Baltimore.
Banana pudding.
Banana pudding. Still got the banana pudding.
I told our buddy Faisal Shah that when I was on comms. I said, "You never gonna guess how someone would describe these uniforms," because he was trying to find a way to describe it, and I gave the whole story of how you found the hex codes and did the whole nine.
Banana pudding.
That's what Nate Hayes does. What else does Nate Hayes do? Well,
get to the bottom of it.
He gets to the bottom of things, and he gets to the bottom of what's happening in minor league cricket. And there were still games to go on Labor Day weekend, weren't there, Nate?
Yes, there were. On Monday, the holiday weekend was just a gift to everybody. Gave us 2 games in the East. Here we go with Philadelphians versus New Jersey Somerset Cavaliers. Christopher Van Tol and Ryan Scott gave Philly a terrific start for partnering for 76 runs into the 11th before Scott would be sent back with 40 runs from 27 balls thanks to Saad bin Safar. Van Tol would have to do all the heavy lifting from there to get the Philadelphians to 145 for 4. Van Tol would end the weekend ahead on the run scorers race. Now, the Cavaliers, riding high from Sunday's big win, would lean again on Kenar Lewis, who smashed another 6 sixes in his 53 runs from 36 balls. A big boost from Syed Abdullah and Gaj Singh would make quick work of the target. And the Cavs would end their weekend with a 6-wicket win with 23 balls to spare. In what looked like it was going to be a better game than that. And finally, the Stallions would close the weekend out with a quick win over NYC Titans, holding the debutantes to 98 runs and chasing it down inside of 15 overs to win by 7 wickets. Akshadevi, Atlanta Fire. Well, I was going to list off some players there who did really well this weekend, but let's take a look here. The New Jersey's just got such a good team, and I think that this NYC Titans team might not have what it takes at this moment. I think they got a little bit of work to do. Yeah,
I mean, I think for NYC, you're a new franchise, so there's things to develop, and what better way to develop them against the New Jersey Stallions? That's outside of this last year, they were the team that came out of the Atlantic, right? Pretty consistently. The team at least came out of the East. They would take on the Atlanta Fire in year 2. They've
Right.
always been right up there. They have, Saithej Mukumalu, who's coming off a great international tour. You have Jesse Singh. You have Sachimai Lavarapu. So you have so many great individuals on that team. It's a great way to test yourself and continue to build upon what you have.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I think, that East division, every division in minor league cricket is hard. And if you're not at the top if you're not one of the favorites, you're going to have a really tough road.
Yeah,
and we see a lot of really close stuff happening in the East. There's a lot of surprises in the East every single season. I wouldn't be surprised if we had some more of those surprises. I think Manhattan has already showed us one of them already.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, Nate, you've kind of deep dive into the East this week. Do you have any big takeaways from this weekend of cricket?
I think it's going to go kind of the way that we think it is. I think that the big three in that division, the Philadelphians, I think the New Jersey Somerset Cavaliers, New Jersey Stallions. It's a three-headed race right there. It's a three-car race, and I think a three-horse race. I guess this is the term. But yeah, that's how it's going to go. I really do like the New Jersey Somerset Cavaliers. I like their experience. I think losing Yasser it might prove to be a blow for them.
Sure.
Because as it gets down to it, your U23 or your U21, all that stuff is going to matter a lot. Of course, he's a little bit older now. But yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting division. The Philadelphians look stronger with the bat, and maybe a little bit not as strong with the ball as they have in the past, but they've made up for that. They didn't look like they were weaker with the ball this weekend.
Yeah, I think it's all about when do your role players step up. I think that's what jumped and prevailed the Somerset Cavaliers last season. They were almost out of the whole thing, and things kept rolling because guys just kept starting to step up and perform, like the Yasir Mohammeds of the world. Gurjit Singh found incredible form. So you're just getting guys to continue to perform. And if Gurjit Singh and Kanar Lewis are batting the way they are, with Najib Shah doing his thing that way, it's going to be tough regardless. And then I think when I look at Philly, I look at a team that it's Ryan Scott up top, and they have 3 finishers kind of deal. When you talk about Christopher Rantoul, you talk about Bhaskar Yadram, you talk about Jonathan Fu, any one of those 3 can win you the game in the back end. So that's why that team is so dangerous. And we mentioned the Stallions. So yes, those 3 teams are probably the teams you're going to look at. I think the Yorkers, their role to play this season is going to be that of spoiler. They're going to ruin someone's time. It's just a question of whose time do they ruin.
And Vantoul played a lot of really pretty shots this weekend. I think he's going to prove to be a really good player for them. He's definitely got more offense from behind the stumps than they're used to, except for when they've had like a Jonathan Fu back there. But now not having to put Jonathan Fu back there can take advantage of him bowling a little bit better, a little bit more. I think that's there's some questions that have been answered on that team.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that is the East in a nutshell. Pretty great division, and we've wrapped that up. And that division, it feels like it's 3-horse race, like we said, but anyone can jump in. But let's move into the Central, because the Central division is really jam-packed. The big question coming in, we have to address it. The Dallas Mustangs are not going to be a part of this edition of minor league cricket. They do not exist in 2024. So we look at it as we do. And you take a look at this. It's the Houston Hurricanes who are sitting pretty up top. And then from there, it's the Lone Star Athletics that come in with the Exploria Giants. Those are the 3 teams that played and had contests. Nate, what do you make of this Central division?
The Central is just an absolutely loaded division. Last season, as you said, we don't have the Mustangs this year. That's a shame. They were a great team, but that talent's been dispersed mostly throughout that division. Yeah. It's going to be a dogfight, I think. I think we deserve to see twice as many games in the Central, but it's not going to be twice as many games. So there's going to be some luck that's going to play a part in this division, I think.
Yeah, it depends on starts. Right? Starts are going to matter. You mentioned that talent getting dispersed. We've seen it kind of go everywhere, and the Andres houses of the world that are on the CPL, that talent isn't going to be dispersed, right? He signed with Exploria, but he's not going to play with Exploria for quite some time. But let's just talk about, a lot of it has changed in the Central, but one matchup remained prudent as always. The Houston Hurricanes, well, they took on the Lone Star Athletics on Saturday in the very first game of the Central Division. And my goodness, was this a game to remember, because the Hurricanes were sent into bat first and were led by incredible ball striking by Lehiro Malanta, who scored 38 off 27, and Mukhtar Ahmed, who also turned in a lasting innings, 33 off 23. Lone Star were able to keep things in check with timely wickets, but Saif Badar continued the onslaught with his 29 off 23 as the Hurricanes finished with 151. The Athletics were able to get a couple of early boundaries in their innings, but the Hurricanes brought things back with wickets from Usman Shawari and Matthew Trump. And then it was Milind Kumar and Awais Zia who were able to build a stable lefty-righty partnership before Zia was eventually run out right here by Kartik Kettapalli. Nearly fumbled it, gets it back, throws it back up. Great play there. Milind, though, he would go on to score 60 off 42 to keep the Athletics in the match. And then this incredible play from Matthew Trump right there, got a hand to it, got rid of Milind, and that was the second wicket in the over. And after that, the Athletics were taken out of the match, and the Hurricanes, well, they got a huge win to start things off. I mean, this was a game that felt like it could have gone either way. I was listening to Brian Walters on call, and for a lot of you, he said, I feel like we know who's going to win the game, but you just weren't quite sure in the end, because Milind Kumar has just kind of been a revelation for Lone Star.
Yeah, what an innings for him. It's one of those things where close game plus Brian Walters is going to be
it's the best.
It's a great combo.
It's the best.
It's a great combo.
Yeah, and I think I look at the Houston Hurricanes, and they've been kind of a team that's been struggle to make the next jump, right? This is a team that's always had high expectations, so many great players, but they've just always been overshadowed. In the first season, it was the Silicon Valley Strikers when they add Unmuk Chand, the Narsingh Dinarayan with Kulvinder Singh and Saurabh Netravalkar. They just weren't able to get past that. In the second season, it was more the same when the Seattle Thunderbolts really had their impressive run. And that third year was the Mustangs' year to come out of the Central. With the Mustangs gone, I think the Hurricanes have a claim as the best team in that Central.
I think if you have Lehiro Malanta in your team, I think
they added him in the offseason. Tremendous pickup.
Exactly. Fantastic pickup there. And, they've always had good wicket keeping. They've always had great gloves behind the stumps. They get that again with Lehiro Malanta. But they get that explosive bat from the left side, the bat that can go. He can bat anywhere from 1 through 6. Yeah. We know that he can get the job done everywhere he goes. Probably for my money, him and Hamilton, Jamar Hamilton, who's in the CPL. Yep. Him and Jamar Hamilton, pretty much, I think, probably the best gloves in the whole country. Yeah, I think that's fair. But yeah, it's and that's a tough thing to say. That's a high bar.
Right.
There's a lot of great wicket keepers in this country, but I think anybody who has Lehiro Malanta in this league has a really good chance.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, it's always really, really interesting. And I look at Lone Star as well. This is also a team that's always been right there, and they add Smit Patel to the likes of Cheyenne Jahangir, Milind Kumar. They lose Shubham Ranjane, so there's a question there. No Josh Trump. Josh Trump, he's out in Houston, and I think that with Lone Star, it just feels like they're missing a couple, just that one big piece. Awais Zia is a really big pickup for them.
Yeah.
I just feel that they needed something, and they just don't have it. And I think Shubham Ranjane was that X factor for them.
Oh yeah, I agree with you. I think we're going to see a lot of what we normally see from this division. Last year, it emerged as probably the top division in the country in terms of talent.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't think they've taken much of a step back this season.
No, not at all. And the Houston Hurricanes, well, they didn't get time to take much of a step back because they had to go out there and play back-to-back games. This time, though, they took on the Dallas Exploria Giants on Sunday. And, well, Exploria were sent into bat first, but lost an early wicket in the form of Chaitanya Bishnoi, out there caught at deep backward square. Gaurav Bajaj and Akrishit Gomo, though, they put together a strong second wicket partnership, each with some lusty blows around the ground. Kartik Kettapalli, though, he provided the much-needed breakthrough with the wicket of Gomo. And, again, just this one was skied, terrifically done there. And then we talk about Akhilesh Bodhigam. He gets the wicket of Bajaj just an over later, so they get back into this match. And the two former champions, Shubham Ranjane and Harmeet Singh, provided a good fight back, getting Exploria past the 100 mark, but consistent bowling from the Hurricanes held the score to just 127. And well, in the Hurricanes, they didn't need to go deep into their batting order. After the early dismissal of Lehiro Malanta by a tremendous catch from Harmeet Singh, it was all Hurricanes, as the four major leaguers to follow, Mukhtar Ahmed, Joshua Trump, Saif Badar, and Matthew Trump, led the team to a 7-wicket victory. And this is why this team is so dangerous, Houston Hurricanes. They didn't need to go very deep in that batting lineup, and all they used were major leaguers after major leaguers. The things we didn't mention about the Houston Hurricanes, though, in the first talk we had, Karthik Gittapalli and Akhilesh Bhatigam. You finally have two guys that can spin from both ends, and that to me sets this Hurricanes team apart to any other years.
Oh, 100%. Akhilesh Bhatigam, we've talked a lot about him. He's in a Major League Cricket team. Karthik Gittapalli, I don't think he's far off from being in a Major League team. He's always been there, nipping at the heels of the best in his style in the whole country.
Yeah.
He's right there. I think he's an absolutely phenomenal bowler, especially at this level. This team, I've raved about Akhilesh Bhatigam. I've had him on my shows in the past. Probably should get Karthik Gittapalli on the show.
That'd be awesome, Karthik. Come on.
Well, we do have Joe Hickey's going to do some of the interviews for us this season.
A little exclusive there, guys.
Looking forward to that, everybody. We love including people in the community such as him, who's excellent talent.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of excellent talent, it was Matthew and Joshua Trump on this team. It feels like when on the same minor league team, these two just perform at a whole nother level. Matthew Trump had the best weekend of the two. Maybe Josh Trump was there in the second game, but Matthew Trump, man of the match, player of the match in that first game, couple of runouts, couple of wickets, chipped in with the bat a little bit in the second game. I mean, this is a team, again, so deep, so many major leaguers, and when you talk about the Mustangs getting split up, this many major leaguers just makes it that much more interesting. But this Central is going to be jam-packed. For me, my big takeaways were that the Hurricanes seem to have made the jump. We haven't seen most of this conference yet. I think the Kingsmen are going to have something to say up in Chicago about this division.
Oh, no question. X4 as well. Let's see what the Tigers can do. They are always scrappy, and they got Justin Dill this season to go along with Calvin Savage. That's a great 1-2 punch with the ball, and towards the end of the batting to finish out the batting. So we'll see how the Chicago Tigers can do at the front of the order, at the top of the order,
right,
to start the games off, to get them into those last 6-7 overs of the innings where their bashers can take over. But yes, the bowling's going to be there. I think we're going to see a lot of surprises this season in the Central. Just a lot of great games. Like I said before, there aren't enough games here where luck is going to have to matter.
Yes, 100%. Luck is going to have, again, 8 games this year, so every game is important. I mean, you talk about the Baltimore Royals, the luck for them to get to that super over and then claim that super over. That sometimes things just have to go your way. And the Hurricanes' hot start has gotten them off to the right track, and it'll be interesting to see how they continue to go. And speaking of divisions that maybe aren't fully established, let's move into the West. We'll take a look at this table, but don't put too much stock into the table that you see there, Dave, because you're not reading it incorrectly. There's only 2 teams with numbers on it. It's East Bay and Silicon Valley. They each only had 1 game to play.
Yeah, just 1 game at Morgan Hill, and as you can see there, the East Bay Blazers won. The Silicon Valley Strikers opened the batting, scoring 142 for 7 in the full 20, and the Blazers chased them down in 17.2, 143 for 3. Thanks in large part to Sanjay Krishnamurthy's half century, along with Sujit Gowda. So the young batters for East Bay, the leadership of Sanjay Krishnamurthy coming into play there. We saw him absolutely blaze in Major League.
I mean, if you weren't pumped to see him in Major League, I don't know what to say to you. But speaking of Major Leaguers and speaking of Mustangs making the move, Rushi Lagarkar is part of this, this core now. And how about this? 3 wickets for 22 runs in his 4 overs that he had. I mean, he was phenomenal with the ball in hand. He got the top 2 gone. He took the both openers and really set the game up. And this is an East Bay Blazers team that have a lot of expectations this year. Again, you talk about the Houston Hurricanes maybe feeling hard done by some of the things that happened. They would feel hard done by just certain circumstances, right? The Silicon Valley Strikers in year 1, the Seattle Thunderbolts in year 2, the Mustangs obviously were the team in year 3.
Right.
With no Mustangs, this is the team that Joe Hickey and everyone out west is telling me is the team to beat in this league.
Yeah, I think so. I think that East Bay looks terrific. Rushil Ugarkar has come a long way in a couple of years. He's really emerged as a threat. His Major League Cricket team, the New York. New York.
There you go.
Their coaches were raved about it. So I think that this is just going to be, Abhishek Pardkar, as you mentioned before. I think that they're a good bowling side. and a good batting side, obviously. But we'll see how the Silicon Valley Strikers bounce back. Their batting looks fantastic when you look at it on paper. We saw Pranay Suri batting at number 3 for this team, and we saw Adik Gorawara coming in about at 6, and I was expecting to be batted a little bit higher.
Sure.
But we'll see how things go. I mean, the West has yet to really explode onto the minor league scene.
Yeah, I mean, at least this season, right? Because we just haven't seen a lot of games, right? And you're going to see the Seattle Thunderbolts is one of the teams, as you mentioned. I think you add Ruben Clinton up there. This team could just be something, right? They always seem to be gritty.
Right.
I think that team could look really good. There's the so-called Lashings have done some. The Los Angeles Lashings rather have done some things. There's plenty of really good talent out west. We're just yet to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a great race coming ahead in the West, and Joe Hickey's going to catch you up on a lot of that next week. He's got some interviews lined up.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, those are your divisions kind of recapped, and I'm looking here at some of the questions and comments that are sitting over here, and everyone's raving about the Trump brothers and Milind Kumar, and I mean they love the the jerseys, and someone shouted out the St. Louis Americans jerseys are pretty dope with pinstripes and the navy/hot pink motif. I love the American jerseys. They are maybe the sneaky jerseys the Morsel team used to have once to compete.
Oh yeah, the pink ones.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. But the Americans, the only pink team. There's 2 pink teams with the Thunderbolts and them.
Thunderbolts, yeah.
But there's such a unique thing. It's almost like Yankee pinstripes when you see the Americans.
Absolutely. Right. Yeah. I like the pink. In theory, can't wear it as a ginger. Can't put the pink on. But I like it in theory.
Well, there you go. Well, we again appreciate you guys for jumping into the comments. Make sure you keep leaving them. I see you, Big Nate Cricket. I see you, El Wilder. Had a great thing about us. Actually, he said he loves listening to us, and he said that MLC should get us involved in the comms next season. I'm not sure about that, but
hey, man, you're already there.
Well, we got to get him on.
It's good. It's all good.
But no, we appreciate all this stuff, and again, appreciate you guys. Keep jumping in if you got questions. Make sure you ask them. But, this wasn't just going to be a show about us recapping divisions. We had to have some fun, too. And what we wanted to do was jump into a top 10. So this is our own made top 10. We might have missed some stuff, but here we go. Let's run this video, Bobber. Let's see what we have in our top 10. At number 10 is Jonathan Foos, 41 off 22. He also took 2 wickets. How phenomenal was this?
Yeah, this is just typical Jonathan Fu. We've seen it for 3 years now. This is the 4th season. We're used to this from Jonathan Fu.
Yeah, used to it. Those 2 boundaries, and then this wicket. You saw it already, but I think we just had to keep playing it. 2 wickets for Fu.
Great catch there.
Yeah, and then speaking of great catches, Harmeet Singh gets into the action. This is just to get rid of Lahidu Malanta. He's ran so far back. Brian Walters is screaming in the box. How phenomenal. Big smile from Harmeet Singh. We move to number 8 now, and this was your man, Christian Van Til. How about that shot?
Oh, yeah, great shot. Well, he had a good innings on Monday, 74 runs, I believe. Just a great scoring from him.
Well, great catches seem to be a theme. Ollie Cox here, my goodness, on the boundary, gets his feet down, throws it back up to himself, nonchalant as ever, and the Worcester Raptors get a wicket off a full toss. Don't see that too often. And in the South, well, Corny Dry said, anything you can do, young man, I can do it better. How about this, Nate?
Terrific. Look at that. Using that length, he makes that boundary 3 yards longer.
It was just phenomenal. I mean, oh my goodness. Speaking of phenomenal, Trevon Griffith, he got his first 50 score off just 24 deliveries and closed the game off with just a tremendous catch here. We've seen it once, but it was so nice. We had to play it twice. Take a look. We've seen that so many times with Trevon Griffith. Sure to see it at Church Street Park. Matthew Trump, he got 2 runouts in this game. This is the first. Nate, look at the pump fake here. I think he's got to play for maybe the Houston Texans.
Oh, yeah, look at that. That's beautiful.
There you go. There's the pump fake, and then this time gets the hand down on the low snap,
Boom.
Gets rid of Milind Kumar. That's number 4. Number 3, we talked about concussions. Well, this one might have been the concussion to end all concussions. Jaskar Malhotra runs straight through Sarbjeet Singh Ludda, and if you might be surprised to learn that Ludda was the one who came okay of that too. Bhaskar Yadram, though, his 4 or 5, can't say enough about it.
Oh my gosh, what a spell from him. What a weekend for Bhaskar Yadram. Look at what he does for this team. He just does things for both sides of the ball for this Philadelphian squad.
And number 1, how can it be anyone else? Gurjendra Singh, his hat trick plus his 50 right here. I mean, it was just scintillating ball striking, and then 3 wickets in the hat, in the sunglasses, with our man Brian, the umpire.
That is just legendary right there. Hat, sunglasses, Hat trick. That's a hat sunglasses trick.
There you go. There you go, guys. Hat sun trick over there, coined by Nate Hayes. Rooted.
That's a Jimmy Buffett trick.
There you go. It's the opposite of a Kenny Chesney. He's got a hat, shoes, shirt, whatever the deal is. But that is our top 10. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. If you guys have any plays you thought should have been in there, put them in the comments. Message us. If you got stuff for week 2, we'd love to hear it as well as they come in. Again, we're just trying to have a little bit of fun here on these segments. Nate, it seemed that we had just so many catches. We were going through the list.
Oh my gosh.
And we left out like 3 or 4 catches for us. None had a great catch. I mean, there were so many things we left off in terms of the catching department.
We could have done a top 20. We actually, you know what? It was prudent for us not to because we ran out of time. But we could have literally done a top 20. The amount of catches that we saw, I think just in the East, there could have been 10 good catches that led there.
Absolutely. Well, let's keep moving on to some of our other awards. One that Nate and I hold very close and dear to our heart, the Emerging Player of the Week. And we've got it here for you. It's Aksh Dave who gets the Emerging Player of the Week. Nate, tell us about him.
Well, Aksh, he was absolutely fantastic. We didn't have a whole lot of run scoring in the South, but he scored at a 123 strike rate, 2 innings, 69 runs, took a wicket at a 4.6 economy. So he did the whole all-rounder thing quite well. In the South, he's a youngster, so he gets the nod.
Yeah, and something about the emerging player, there's a couple of things in here. You got to be under 21 to qualify for this, and you can't have made the Major League roster. You couldn't have made the USA roster.
That's
yet.
right.
So
you're not emerging anymore.
Right, you've made it. Saiteja Mukamala, sorry, you can't win this award every week anymore.
We got to keep Saiteja Mukamala out of the award every week. And
that's where
Yasser
it is.
Muhammad.
This is the Sai, Yasser, and Trump rule, really.
We can name it after one of these guys.
We should. And you guys let us know who we should name it after. Speaking of more awards, let's move on to the Atlantic Player of the Week. And is there really any surprise on this one? Gurjapneet Singh, clear cut to me.
Oh, 100%. I mean, like we said before, we raved about how much fun it looked like he was having, how much fun it was to watch him. Gurjapneet Singh, just a class cricketer. He had 2 not outs from his 97 runs at 161 strike rate. He had the first hat trick of the season in minor league cricket. He took 2 fantastic catches, and he ran around like a schoolboy. And he did it all in sunglasses and hat. Next week, I want him to hit a century with a hat and sunglasses on. I think we need that. That'll be the hat trick of hat tricks.
Nate, I think you need to do the show wearing hat and sunglasses next week because you're just obsessed with it.
I'll do it.
There are plenty of other contenders in this. Bhaskar Yadram was in this. Kenara Lewis, Christopher Van Tull, Christopher Barnwell also down south. So there's a plenty of candidates, but Gurjapneet Singh, he kind of just blew everyone out of the water. There was really a given once we saw those kind of score lines that was going to go.
Yeah, he got in, plus he had the fun factor.
Yeah, there you go. You have to have a little bit of swag to be our player of the week. Speaking of players of the week, let's move into the Pacific. And this was kind of more up in the air, but we went with the youngster. We went with Sanjay Krishnamurthy.
Yeah, just his captaincy against a rival team that used to have the East Bay Blazers number. 52 runs in his lone innings. He captained East Bay Blazers to victory over the Silicon Valley Strikers. And hats off to Sanjay, who was tremendous in Major League Cricket, youngster with a very bright future. We look to see a lot more from Sanjay. If you're in the Bay Area and you want to see a rising star in cricket, head on over to watch the East Bay Blazers. Heck, head on over to watch any of these teams because there's a star on all of them.
Yeah, 100%. And we talked about the guys that could have fit in for this award. We thought about Sujit Gowda, his teammates, Saif Fadar, Mukhtar Ahmed, Milind Kumar, Usman Shinwari. Matthew Trump was on that list too. So we talked about the Emerging Player of the Award, Emerging Player of the Week. Well, we have Sanjay Krishnamurthy and Trump in the Player of the Conference Awards. We can't really give them the emerging one. Also, they've also emerged as its own right.
They've emerged, but they are former winners of the award.
Exactly.
And just as we were talking about the Emerging Player Award, I want to mention Arjun Vijala from the New Jersey Stallions. Took 4 wickets in his 7 overs on the weekend. He was tremendous with the ball. I think a 6 economy. So keep it up. Arjun, you were amazing. You were like our second pick basically for emerging player.
Yeah, him. Adi Gupta was really good. We talked about with the ball and his kind of comeback into minor league. And I'm looking at the chat here, and they're talking about Sanjay's on his way to big U.S. cricket future. We couldn't help but agree with that. We know he's
absolutely.
We saw it in Major League, right? We know what the guy can do. We know what he's capable of, and we know that the future is bright ahead.
And also, just wanted to point out that last weekend we had a lot of USA Pathway youth events.
Yeah, there you go.
So there were a lot of U19 players who were participating in them. We're going to get some of them back this coming weekend in some of the games. For example, for Morrisville.
Yep.
So we'll look forward to seeing some Rai, both Sahar Swathan. So yeah, we're looking forward to seeing some of these young players who missed out this past week because they were in the exciting USA Pathway events. So yeah, keep your eyes open for even more contributions from young players.
And speaking of the future, well, let's look ahead to minor league cricket. And I want to start with the South, right? That's where we're going to start because it is the South and that's where we reside. And we kind of picked one game to watch from each division. This is the game for me. We haven't seen Fort Lauderdale Lions, and we get to see a night game at Church Street Park, the first one of the year. Those are always electric. And I remember 2022 when we had our first night game at Church Street Park. We had that last ball victory from the Morrisville Raptors. That feels like something we might have again.
Oh man, you know what else is going to be a first this season, this weekend at Church Street Park on Friday? Me on commentary for the season.
There we go.
I'll be there with you, and Bobber's going to be directing the game. We're going to have some great camera work. We always have good camera work.
Yep.
But yeah, tune in Friday night for our game. For the Morrisville Raptors.
It's our game. No. It is the Morrisville Raptors game. Big Dunay in there. He said Friday Night Lights. That's what it's going to be when the Fort Lauderdale Lions take on the Morrisville Raptors. That's our game to watch in the South because, again, it's that Church Street Park atmosphere. You just can't quite beat that atmosphere. Let's move to the East, though, because for this one, a little bit more points table focus. It's second and third going at it. It's Philly taking on the New Jersey Stallions.
Yeah, this one looks like a great matchup as it tends to be in the East. We mentioned earlier there's kind of like a 3-horse race. Well, one of those horses is a stallion, and that is the New Jersey Stallions. With a lot of USA players on that team, a lot of players with USA experience. Dominic Ricky had a good weekend. Yeah. We had obviously Jesse Singh is a tremendous leader on that team. We have up and comers like Stephen Wigg. So it's going to be a great matchup. I think I'm really looking forward to seeing what these two teams can do. And early in the season, you're learning who you got. You're learning what you're all about, and we're going to see two teams learn an awful lot in that game.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see it. See Jonathan Fu and Bhaskar Yadav yet again. Let's move into the Central for that upcoming week. It's the Houston Hurricanes taking on the Lone Star Athletics, and we picked this one. Yes, we've seen this game, but it's 1v2. You can't really beat it at this stage. You get to see them go back at it.
1v2, two Texas teams facing each other. Lone Star Athletics, Houston Hurricanes. These are two great teams. I'm stoked to see this game. Anything in Houston is bound to be good, especially when you get Brian Walters on comm. I'm not sure who's on comms in this one.
We hope. Hey,
even if it's not Brian, I'm sure it's going to be great.
Yeah, but here's us saying, hey, Texas, get Brian Walters on comms. That's what America needs.
But we're supporting whoever's on comms.
Yes, whoever is, we will love you, but
get
Brian Walters up there with you. Get both of them involved in the games. Just want to pause right here. They're talking about playing at night during MLC in Morrisville. Lights are just a little too dim for Major League Cricket. Wilder, who's been a part of this all the way through this, but we appreciate that.
A little too dim for Major League, but minor league, we spoke to some of the players in Major League about why they're too dim. It's not that you can't see the ball, it's you can't see it quite as well.
Exactly, and that makes all the difference.
It makes a difference between 145, 150K, 89, 90, 91 miles an hour, and 84, 85, 86. There's a big difference there, and I think anytime you're in the mid 90s, it can be dangerous with that amount of light.
100%. Let's move out west to what our game of the week is there. It's the Silicon Valley Strikers taking on the Golden State Grizzlies in a rivalry that's old as time, and for us, we get to see Vatsal Vagela's captaincy debut.
That's going to be really exciting. A lot of youngsters in these two teams. We're going to see Vatsal also Jarawala playing against his old team. So I'm pretty stoked to see what's going to go on in the West. This is going to be kind of like another introduction to the West for the 2024 season. Anything in that Bay Area, those three teams there, they tend to have some very good games.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Nate, that kind of wraps up our show. Before we go, any final words?
Just keep tuning in. And also, we're happy that we're looking for sponsors right now for the show. So if you're interested in sponsoring Minor League Cricket Live for 2024 season, get with us. Look us up on social media. Get in touch with us. Get in touch with the league. And we'll be happy to talk sponsorship.
Absolutely. Guys, this has been phenomenal. Nate, it's been phenomenal. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us here on the Minor League Cricket Live show. It's episode 1. We can't wait to do this all weekend long with you, and I've had a blast. I know Nate's had a blast, and Bobber's been an absolute blast. We've also appreciated you guys tuning in the comments. We appreciate you. We do answer as many questions as we can, and we can't wait to do this all week long with you. Enjoy minor league cricket, enjoy week 2, and we'll be back next week with another live show. Guys, I'm Aman Patel, and for Minor League Cricket Live, for Nate Hayes, for Bobber Begg, we thank you and have a good night.